in Pittsburgh, July 7th. I remember I was pissed. Like, I can't believe it. This guy is hitting 213.
This is what is beautiful about the game of baseball. So you're the kid in Honduras who's like, just give me a shot. You then get drafted in the 26th round. You work your way through the minor leagues. You get traded. And at some point, it's like, what's the deal? Call me up. Why is this taking so long?
It's not that I deserve this one, but come on, I earned this one. I was the last guy to leave the clubhouse. Nothing happened. And then I went to Uber with my wife, went to the hotel, and I see a call from the manager saying either you're gonna get released or you're gonna get called up.
So for everybody listening who hears me refer to this gentleman right here as Doobie, this is Mauricio Dubón. He is Mr. what I would call kind of everything for the Houston Astros. The question that I want, I guess, all of the guests to kind of ponder and think about today is, what would it be like if your kid wasn't the biggest, wasn't the strongest, wasn't the most hyped or highly ranked, but still had the heart to get to the big leagues, right? That is essentially what I think kind of perfectly articulates you. Now, you went from being born in a smaller town in Honduras, right? You moved to the United States. You eventually win a World Series. I guess, Doobie, my question for you is like, so talk a little bit about being born in Honduras. I know you were a soccer player at one point. At what point are you like, no, I actually want to play baseball?
For me, you grew up in Honduras, and if you don't know how to play soccer, you're not gonna have any friends. So for me, every time I went outside and try to just go out in the street and everything and play, it was soccer. Baseball for me. But the funny thing is, like, I don't remember the first day going to a baseball field. For me, it was always the memories of a baseball field. For me, baseball was my love. Soccer for me was, it was
like something that you just did to hang out with some buddies.
Yes, but I always knew I wanted to play baseball. Like, I always knew, like, since I'm 5, 6 years old, I always say I wanted to play in the big leagues. Everybody says that, but the only games that they were on TV is TBS, the Atlanta Braves, and then Sunday night, Thursday night baseball in ESPN. That's it. But we watched the Braves a lot. So Chipper, I remember the Chipper, Marcus Giles, Furcal, Javi Lopez, all that team over there. Grew up watching those guys. Obviously watching Jeter and those guys. So for me, it was always just watching those guys how to play.
Okay, so you just kind of have this innate desire. Baseball is what I want to play. Did you have that before you ever threw a baseball?
Like I said, I don't remember, what? Today's my first day of baseball. I don't remember that. For me, it was always the memories on a baseball field. My brother played, my dad played softball, everybody played. It was not as big, but for me, it was always, having pictures of me with a bat, young age. So for me, it was always, I'm going to play baseball. I'm going to play baseball no matter what.
At what point are you like, okay, I want to move to the United States? Because that's the thing that people may not know. So you were born in Honduras, grew up in Honduras, and then at some point, and it was around high school, right? You said, wait a minute, I actually think I need to move to the United States. So talk about when that was and what that was like.
It was never an option for me. It's the funny thing. For me, I'm from Latin America, so all I knew was, okay, I gotta go do a tryout when I'm 12, 13 years old, and hopefully I get signed when I'm 15, 16, and then go play Dominican Summer League and then go anywhere. But like you said before, I was not the biggest guy. I was not the most hyped guy. So every time the scouts saw me when I was doing a tryout, oh, too small. No, not too big. His swing's not going to play in the big leagues, or his swing's not going to play in professional baseball. So they always side-eye me and then, where's he from? From Honduras? No, let him go play soccer.
Okay, so I want to stop there because I'm assuming, and I'm hearing the person watching this saying oh, he's from Latin America though. They play a lot of baseball. No. Latin America, you're thinking of Mexico, you're thinking of the Dominican, Puerto Rico, Venezuela. No, guys played soccer in Honduras. They actually didn't play baseball.
People ask me all the time, hey, how you compare, Honduran baseball player, playing in the big leagues? I tell people all the time, and it's funny because it's like watching a Dominican watching a Dominican person play for Real Madrid in Spain, one of the best clubs in the thing. It's just like that. You don't see that. It's a unicorn pretty much in Latin America. But for me, it was always, baseball.
How did you come to go to the United States? What happened?
Okay, so I remember I was 13 years old too, and 13 going to 14. I remember went to Nicaragua actually. And did a tryout. Scout was he would say, I was like, no, he's too little. He doesn't run fast. Like, his swing is not gonna play. Like he doesn't have it, he said. So I remember me and my dad drove 13 hours for that tryout. And
13 hours.
yes.
Wow.
And came back that same day and my dad was pissed. But he was pissed with the scout, like this guy, like
it was a waste of our time?
no, not a waste of our time. It was more like pissed because like they didn't want to give me a chance of like
okay.
of show people what I can do. I always tell people I'm a show pony. I don't tryouts. Yeah, anybody can hit on a tryout, but I'm a gamer. Like I'll go to the game and I'll perform. I'll find a way to win. And I remember the week later after that tryout, the mission trip group came down to Honduras, and I remember I didn't want to go. I was like, nah, I don't want to go. This is a waste of time. This is gonna tell me the same thing. And I ended up going. No, that same day, like it was 12 o'clock. It was a tryout. It was like they came to give baseball stuff, and like at 12 o'clock, I was like, nah, I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna go play soccer. So I actually went and played soccer that day, and in the street. And my mom came like, hey, no, you're going. Like, go. Fine. I ended up going over there. That was on a Monday, and they saw me playing, and somehow, some way, I was leaving on Friday
to Sacramento.
To Sacramento, yeah.
And so, how'd you get connected with your host family?
So they were Andy Ritchie. He was there.
Yeah. So for everyone listening, the Ritchie family is the host family that we're talking about.
Yeah. So the dad and Ben came when the whole thing was happening. They were in Honduras and they saw me and everything. I'm like, what do you think about come and live with us? Like, I never spent the night at those people's houses. Let me ask my mom. My mom was like, hey, this is your chance. Like, might as well just go. But it was never for me. Like, it was funny because like it was never like an idea for me of going over there and like think, you know what? I'm gonna go over there and sign. And I'm like, for me, it was like I get to get out of here. Like I get to
here's an opportunity to get to the United States, get an education.
Yeah.
And like baseball's a bonus.
Yeah. And try to go like, be something. And coming here and everything. Now having the tools, now having the everything, it helped me become a better baseball player.
Yeah. Okay, so how old are you now when you get there?
So I was 15 at the time.
So 15 years old. So you're, so sophomore in high school, and you go to Capital Christian, right? Which for anyone listening, like Capital Christian is a school in Sacramento. It's not like the best baseball program in the country.
No.
Yeah.
I played for the summer there and ended up getting homesick and ended up coming back.
Oh, really? I didn't hear this.
That's why I saved it for the best.
Okay.
Yeah. So I ended up getting homesick, and I told Andy, I'm coming back next year. I'm just going to say my goodbyes one more year. And I spent the whole year just like
in Honduras.
The next year of just enjoying it, and then like, hey, I'm leaving. I'm telling my friends I'm leaving. Nobody believed me. Hey, I'm leaving. You
know what's interesting is it feels like you almost needed to go back and like get closure. Like, oh, I left so soon. I need to go back and like, make peace with it, and then
with everything,
move on. Yeah.
Yes, like saying bye to everybody. Like just make sure I said bye to everybody, and then in July I ended up moving back. I spent the whole year over there, saying bye to my friends and everything, and
So this is July of what?
This is July 2010.
Okay, so July of 2010.
I go to Honduras. Then August 2010, I get homesick.
Got it.
And then
you came back when?
And I came back July 11.
Okay, July of 2011. Got it. So now you're 16.
Yeah, I'm a junior.
Now you're a junior.
Yes.
Okay.
So.
And are you playing, when you come back, are you playing travel ball for anybody?
So when I came back, I remember I was playing with the high school summer ball team,
right.
Whatever. We were not very good.
Yeah,
so,
I was like, right.
Yeah, so.
But what's crazy about this is there is travel baseball going on at the time. Like when I was a kid, I'm 44. So when I was a kid, I mean, this was in like the late 90s. There really wasn't travel ball. There maybe was one team, but like it wasn't real. We all played American Legion ball. So you're doing this, coming back when there is travel ball, but still you're not playing on these travel ball teams. I'm bringing that up for a reason for that family out there who's like, we don't have access to certain things. We don't have the finances to pay for certain things. And I think what happens in those situations is the parents and the player thinks like, well, I got no shot. And so here you were being plucked out of a small place like Honduras where baseball didn't exist.
I think the most games I play, since I'm a little kid, the most games we play in a year was 29 games. I remember watching a game. We play a lot of games. It was like 27. Every Saturday or something. Sometimes, you don't play. But yeah, I remember in that summer I played summer ball. Like literally not very good.
What position are you playing? Shortstop?
I was playing short.
Okay.
Sacramento Heat. I remember Nelson Randolph. Yeah, Coach Nelly. And then it was just.
So, DB, do schools reach out at any point?
Oh no, people didn't know who I was.
Okay. So this is why I'm getting it. So now you're a junior, right? For kids today who are juniors, it's like at that point in their high school career, it's like they start to figure out, can I do this? Do I have the capabilities to do this? And maybe they have the passion, maybe they don't have the tools, but they want to see if they can do it at a junior college level or at a college level and just keep trying it out. So at what point are you realizing, okay, I know I love the game. Now I believe I have the tools to maybe, not sure if I can make it a career, but get drafted. When does that start to come into picture?
So for me, it was when I started doing the tryouts and everything when I was 13, 14, I'm like, okay, I have the tools. Like, I got to do something. But it was funny because when I get to Sacramento, I get there, in California, fall, it's either football and soccer and all the...
Basketball?
Basketball is winter.
Or it's winter, yeah.
So fall. So I remember going in and watching the soccer team play, and I'm like, I want to play soccer. So I ended up playing soccer, and ended up going off in soccer.
Did you break some?
Yeah, 31 goals in 19 games. But the whole school thought I wasn't there for soccer. In Sacramento, the whole Capital Christian in fall ball, they thought, oh, he's here for soccer. And I kept telling people, no, I'm here for baseball. Wait till you see me play baseball. Like, I'm a pretty good baseball player. And when baseball season rolls up, I'm like, oh, okay, he plays baseball. Like, he's here for baseball. It was fun just playing soccer and baseball in
So, how was your English back then?
Ooh, I tried to manage to escape it was not good. It was not very good. I mean, it's still, my wife makes fun of me because I pronounce them.
No, your English is great. Just so we're on the same page.
But it was, I was able to sharpen it a little bit more, just coming in and, being with the
host
with the
family,
people and everything.
Did the Richie speak Spanish?
No.
Yeah, right. So you're like thrust into this environment. That's the best way to learn. The reverse is also true. Like, we talk to people oftentimes who want to learn Spanish, and it's like, best way to learn is just to go down there and not have the access.
Yeah, but it's funny because people say that all the time. Like, oh, it's the best way. But when it's happening, you're like, oh my God, what the heck's going on? What the heck's going on? I think I cried myself to sleep 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, every day for 2 weeks, cried. I'm like, fuck, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? And then, I remember just having this conversation. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it.
And where does that come from? I mean, I know you're a spiritual guy, but did you have that feeling back then?
I honestly do. I honestly did. I remember it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. Like, coming here, it was not because, it was just something's great for you. Something, just hold on. Wait. So for me, it was always about perseverance and, grind through everything.
Did you feel like you had a calling in a sense? Like, you felt called to go to the United States, that you felt called to play baseball?
You know what's funny? I always knew in a young age, I was different than everybody else in a sense of, I'm not the biggest guy, but I was always put on a spots that always rose to the occasion. Like, for me, it was never like, oh, I hope, or like this. For me, it was always like, I can do this. Like, for me, it's I can do this. No, we have conversations like, no, I can't do this. Like, it's fine. Like, I just need a shot. I just need this. Like, it's like, for me, it was always, I felt I was different in a sense of me believing in myself more.
You were a 26th round pick, which today doesn't even exist. How was the scouting, environment back then with you? Again, English is your second language. You're not with your parents. You're with the host family. You're having to navigate, and we didn't know each other yet. So you're like navigating this experience with scouts reaching out to you. How did you handle that, and what was that like?
I remember I asked my scout, how you even find me? I'm a Division 5 school where my school has 500 kids. We're not the best baseball program. We're not Jesuit. We're not Granite Bay. We're not all those guys. Like, how you find me? He said, he came to a game. We were playing in Sutter Health now, and where the Oakland, where the A's play now. Yeah, and I went like I think 4 for 5, hit a home run or something. He was like, and I saw you, and then it kept following you, and then just he reached out to me, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm just here with the host family, and they talked to my host family, the Mon Smith Red Sox, I remember, and little by little, like he used to come to my games, and I'm gonna go to your game tomorrow. He texted me, I'm like, okay, perfect, and everything. We were winning 1-0 in the seventh. I made an error, blew the game, lost the game because I made a bad throw and everything. I'm like, I'm never gonna get signed. I just blew my thing and everything. Yeah. And next thing I know, more scouts start coming, more scouts receiving more letters, and then playoffs on my junior year, sliding at to head first at first base, ended up broken my scaphoid bone, hand bone, and then all of a sudden, like I'm a broken cast. I can't even work out on in the winter. So
when you were already a guy who I think people would look at and say, oh, this guy's skinny. He needs to like put muscle on. And so you break your hand and now you can't even work out.
Can't even work out. Can't even prepare myself going to my senior year.
So what'd you do?
Just wait for that and just as soon as the cast was off, start working. Like people sometimes feel like, oh, I'm behind, which is not your timing. It's his.
So, yeah, right.
So for me,
I agree with that. Yeah. Sometimes I think as individuals in life today, we all want to, carry the weight ourselves. And it doesn't matter if it's not the right time. It doesn't matter how heavy this thing is. You'll never be able to move it. You're going to be in quicksand. It's not going to go anywhere.
We live through that stuff all the time. I mean, especially in the game, but you just got to trust it. I mean, but at the same time, you got to I put the work in and everything. I remember I took the cast off like 2 weeks earlier.
That's funny. I actually did the same thing when I was in junior college.
Yeah. So it's like I took it off. I'm like, it doesn't hurt. Let's go. If it's healed, it's not healed. I don't care. I'm just going to play like that. I'm going to play like that. Ended up going and my senior year, just same thing, went off.
Did you get phone calls from other scouts like in the draft day?
Not draft day. Like it was letters and everything.
Yeah, you got all the questionnaires.
All the stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Going over there. But nobody wanted to give a chance to a 130-pound kid.
You went at 130 as a senior?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. From Honduras. So
Doobie, did you at any point in the draft, because the draft it's a hectic day. And obviously back when you got drafted, it was 3 days. This year it's actually going to be 2. But at what point did it ever feel like during those days, like, oh, this isn't going to happen?
So I remember it was 3 days. Everybody was like, oh, you're supposed to go in the first or second day. You're this. My high school coach was saying, oh, if you don't sign the first 10 rounds, don't sign. My mind, I'm like, I just want a shot.
What's the alternative? Like, where were you committed to school?
I was going to go to Sac City.
Right. So Sac City's the junior college I went to, yeah.
I was going to go to Sac City. And I remember I went to school, went to pay for the classes and everything. And day 1, obviously nothing happens. Day 2, I'm like, okay, I have a chance. Rounds from, I think, 3 to 10 or something.
That's right. That's day 2.
And then nothing happens. And then I'm pissed. I'm over there pissed. I'm like, I'm just going to keep working out and then get ready to go to school and everything. I remember around 25, we're going to take a break, and I was playing video games and listening to the draft on the radio. And I remember, round 25, we're going to take a break. Round 26 come in, Red Sox pick in the 7th. And I remember just like, okay, I'm not going to do it. If it's not the Red Sox, it's not the Angels, I'm not gonna get drafted. And ended up, round 26 with a serial number so-and-so, a shortstop from California, Sacramento, Capro Christian, Dubón, Mauricio.
Hold on, so they didn't call you on the phone first? They just took you?
They just literally I'm like, oh God, I just got drafted. I'm like, oh, and so I started screaming, yelling. Round 26, and I thought, I just want a shot. I just want a shot to get in there because I know what I'm capable of doing.
Okay. You enter pro ball. I get introduced to you when you were in Lowell, which is, for everyone listening, that's short season, which again, doesn't even exist anymore. They don't even have short season. Okay.
You laugh about the negotiation, by the way, of the draft. How it ended up happening. I negotiated my drafting.
You did it yourself?
Not a very good one.
Tell me how that went.
So I went, they asked me, how much money you want if you want to sign you? 500. Okay, I'll call you back. We only have 300. I'm like, fine, perfect, let's sign. Okay, I'll call you back. We only have 150.
This is what not to do. So you had no one helping you back then?
No, it was me. Well, we got 150. Like, okay, fine. Hey, we took this guy. We only have 100. Okay, fine, let's do it. I just want to sign.
And you're talking to the area scout the whole time?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And then, hey, we only have $50,000. I mean, hey, come on, like, you got to help me out in this one. I got a family to feed and everything. Okay, let's see. We got 75, take it or leave it. Fine, send it. I ended up signing for $75,000.
This is why agents exist. I wish I met you earlier. No, but I get a phone call from my junior college. So the pitching coach at my junior college, who's a good friend of mine, Bomber, and he calls me on the phone. He says, hey, I want to let you know about a kid. And, obviously you were going to go there. So it makes sense why he had reached out and spoke very highly of you. And it's interesting because my first question was, does he speak any English? Right? Because I see the Honduras thing and he's like, oh yeah, English is perfect. So like your English is, honestly, man, I feel like it was here back then even. Like it was always pretty good. I know you're not admitting that, but it was always good. You're obviously a shortstop in the minor leagues now, playing for the Boston Red Sox at, what I'd call kind of like the lowest level in the minor leagues, but you were still just putting up numbers every single year. So we get to 2016, right? And you get traded to the Milwaukee Brewers. And I remember having this conversation with you. What was that like to get traded? Because I think for every player who gets drafted by an organization, you kind of envision yourself getting to the big leagues with that organization. What was it like for you to get traded at that point? Because when you got traded in 2016, you were in Double-A. You had just hit 340 in Double-A.
I remember waking up at 7 a.m. I was in Honduras. And
it was in December.
Yes, winter meetings. And hey, we want to let you know that we just got traded to the Milwaukee Brewers. Thanks for everything. Hope you the best rest of your career. Hang up the phone. I'm like, cool, that's it? Literally 5 minutes later, they call me from the Brewers. Hey, we're excited to have you. And no, it was heartbreaking at the beginning just because I got drafted by the Red Sox. The Red Sox is like, that's an organization that teach you how to, be a Red Sox and everything, like, implement everything. And just being over there, it was shattering a little bit, but at the same time, like, okay, fine, start all over again. And ended up, playing for Milwaukee, like the Brewers minor league system for a while. I mean, 16, 17, 18, and 19. 18, I lost 18 because the ACL. But 19 was...
I think for everybody who, again, gets drafted, thinks they're going to get to the big leagues with one organization, the reality is like, there's no guarantee of that, right? But when trades come, I think the goal is to look at it in a positive way. And I recognize, look, there are some times where it's like, maybe it wasn't the best thing for a player's career. I do believe that on some level, if you do get traded, it's the opportunity for it to be a good thing. And that's the thing that I know we talked about, where it's like, look, there's two ways to look at this. This was either the worst thing that's ever happened for you in your career, or it's either going to be the best thing that's ever happened to you. You get to choose. What do you want it to be? And so I would encourage everybody who's listening, who maybe has been traded before or the potential to get traded in the future, like, do not look at this like it is the worst thing ever, because somebody wanted to have you for you to go to that new ball club. And yes, it's going to be different, but have an open mind. So you go to the Brewers, you get to the big leagues, right? As a Brewer.
Actually, first game was here in Pittsburgh, July 7. I remember we were in New Orleans with my girlfriend at the time. She's my wife now. I remember I was pissed. These guys are not calling me up. Like, I can't believe it. This guy is hitting 213.
Hold on. I'm going to pause you for a second, because this is what is beautiful about the game of baseball. So you're the kid in Honduras who's like, just give me a shot. Just give me a shot. You then get drafted in the 26th round. Okay. You work your way through the minor leagues. You get traded. And at some point, it's like, what's the deal? Call me up. Why is this taking so long? Right.
Like, come on.
Yeah. It's interesting how perspective changes, though, because you're like, wait a second. I've put in the work. I know that I'm good enough to be there. Give me my shot.
You're always like, come on, there's some guys, but no, like I just, it's not that I deserve this one, but come on, I earned this one.
Yeah.
I earned this one. So I remember with my wife, we were in New Orleans, just having this conversation of just like, I was mad. Like, I'm like, hey, come on, call me up. And I remember my wife was like, see what, after a game, I went like 3 for 4, like 2 doubles. And my wife, after the game, my wife comes down and tells me, you see what happened? Like, no, the shortstop got hurt. What? And then I'm going inside, waiting for them to call me to the office, getting my call. And, I was the last guy to leave the clubhouse. Nothing happened. And then I went on Uber with my wife, went to the hotel, and I see a call from the manager saying either you're gonna get released or you're gonna get called up. And how I was hitting, they are not gonna get released. So my wife has the video recording of this one actually. Like Rick Sweet called me and he says, what are you doing? It's like, not much. I'm at a hotel. Pack your bags, kid. Like, congrats, you're a big leaguer. When he said that, like,
tears.
Everything.
Of course.
I lost my thing, remembering just leaving Honduras.
I remember when you called me, I was in Cleveland. So I was like, wait a second. That's like 2 hours away. So I get in the car and I drove out here. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, ended up going. But then he tells me, but the game's at noon tomorrow. I'm like, oh, and and then you tell me, I remember, Matt, I gotta get my family here. Like, don't worry, I got it. Like, somehow, some way, I can find flights from Honduras to Pittsburgh. So it was
special.
It was a special day. I ended up grounding out at first. One of the best at the time, one of the best closers in the game, and it was special. Something I never forget. I remember hitting a ball, running down the first baseline, just taking it all in, and saying like, "I'm a big leaguer." Nobody.
Crazy stadium though, honestly, to actually make your debut in.
If people don't realize, PNC is pretty nice.
You have a view of the whole city behind you, and it gives you this special feel when you're in the stadium looking at the city. Yeah, it's neat.
Yeah. And then I remember going in, play defense, see the third deck. And I'm like, oh, my goodness, like this is, and I'm playing shortstop in the big league. So I'm like, this is insane. But no, everything, all the work, all the sacrifice, everything, like, you did the 13-hour ride from my dad, like everything was just.
Yeah, it all comes into focus yeah, that's neat. All right. So now I want to get into what your career in the big leagues has been like. Because at that point, shortly thereafter, you get traded to the Giants again, right?
Yes. For me at the time, it was like, oh my goodness, I'm getting traded to the Giants. Sacramento.
San Francisco's right there.
San Francisco right there. The whole host family is a Giants fan. So it's a dream come true. I'm going to play with one of my favorite players. It was Crawford at the time. Just everything, Dynasty. I was there when 2010, 12, 14. Like, this is it. Like, I found my home. Like, this is the best place. Bochy was there in 19, so everything was good. I was playing every day second base. It was one of the most unreal feelings ever, just going there, first game in Dodger Stadium, going on, everything was.
Well, what's interesting too about San Francisco is coming up, you were shortstop. Obviously, when you get to the big leagues, you play some short, you play some second. And then you go to San Francisco, and very quickly it's like, oh, wait a second. We want you to play center field.
It was funny because I was shagging. And I was just goofing around, shagging balls and everything. And all of a sudden, like, you played center before? Like, one time I played in the fall league, like one game, and then that was it. And then we want you to start playing center. And I'm like, I don't care. As long as I get to hit, I'm fine.
All right, so hold on, wait a minute. Because there's so many kids that would be listening to this saying like, I'm not playing center field. I'm a shortstop, right? How many kids coming up playing short think like, wait a second, no, I'm a shortstop. Where does it come from? Like for you to say, I don't care, whatever's going to get me in the lineup, that's what I'm going to do. What is that, you think?
For me, it was always, I want to hit. I don't care where I play, I want to hit. I was working my defense, I was working everything, but for me, it was always, I wanted to hit. If there's another kid playing shortstop and, hey, you're going to play right field, I'm going to be the best right fielder. If I'm going to play center field, I'm going to be the best center fielder. If I'm going to play first base, I'm going to be the best first base. For me, it was always, I want to hit, let me hit. I don't care where I play. As long as I get to hit, 1st to 9, I'm good. Like, have a chance to be at the field and help a team win.
I love that. And you know this, like I've worked with some pretty good shortstops over the years. Machado, who told me like an interesting story about short. Obviously, Izzy, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Pittsburgh Pirate, who plays short. But so when Manny was playing third base, right? And you probably remember this time, J.J. Hardy goes down and they move Manny over to short for a season. And I remember the offseason program for Manny had to change because he said, I need to get ready for playing shortstop again every single day at the big league level. it's a whole different animal. And Izzy's told me the same thing. Izzy said, if I'm in the lineup playing third base, he's like, I don't even need to take ground balls. I'll just go work on my swing in the cage. Or if it's second base, I'll do the same. But if it's short, you can't, I got to go and work at short. Are you the same way? If you're in the lineup at short, is it like a whole different element of getting ready for the game where you have to go work on ground balls defensively or?
So for me, I came up as a shortstop, middle infield guy. So for me, shortstop, yeah, I take ground balls, but I won't stress about it. I won't sweat about it. But if I move to third base, because that's a position I learn how to play. It's not
it's not natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learn how to play. I watch video people. I watch video of Manny, how Manny moves, how he does this. And then just watching him move, okay, I gotta kind of emulate those moves a little bit so I can look apart over there. So I stress more when I play third base and actually, okay, I gotta take ground balls. But when I'm short, I'm okay. I'll play a normal game.
It's just kind of normal.
Yeah. But third base and first base, okay, I gotta make sure
you gotta work on it.
I gotta work on it.
What about center? Center's just fly balls. I'm good. Drop steps. You're fine.
So funny. Antoine Richardson told me this when my center field just went off. When he tells me, "What do you think about when you play center field?" I think I'm a shortstop playing center field. He tells me, "No, bro, you're a center fielder. Be a center fielder." So I started watching video of center fielders, how they move in the outfield. I watched Mookie, how he moves, the drop step and everything. And I started kind of emulating a little bit. And he said, it's not enough. You got to find something else. He said, so when you play soccer, how you hit a ball? You go beat the ball to the spot and then you hit the ball. So that's all I think when I'm playing, head the ball. Go over there, try to head the ball with the. So that's what I think
That's what you're thinking. Wow. I've never heard that before. That makes sense though. It's interesting how when people tell you something, it's it's putting it in words that you can relate to, right? You say that to somebody else and they'd be like, what? But for you with the soccer analogy, you're like, oh no, that actually makes total sense.
For me, it's how you pick a pen. I like how you pick a pen 7 different ways.
A pen?
Yes.
On the ground?
Yeah. There's different ways to pick up a pen. This, this, 2 fingers. There's always different ways to do stuff. So you got to put it in a different perspective for the person that you're trying to explain it, understands it.
That's a good lesson for coaching. Stop trying to tell someone there's only one way to pick up the pen. Yeah. Wow. Look at you. Okay, so Doobie, the San Francisco allure obviously at one point starts to go away where it's all right, listen, any player, any competitor, I want to be in the lineup, right? So how do I get in the lineup? And what became apparent was all right, you're probably not going to find your way in the lineup every day with San Francisco. You get traded again to the Houston Astros, right? Which is the organization you're with right now.
Yeah.
And I want to just, I guess, level set for everybody. So here is a guy who clearly was overlooked, right? Your whole life. You are somebody who you mashed in the minor leagues. You were literally I don't know what your lifetime career average was in the minor leagues, but consistently above 300, 330, 340 sometimes. You get to the big leagues and now it's wait a second. They're not just throwing you into the lineup every day, right? So you, in a sense, and this is a little bit about how the game in the big leagues has changed is, you became this kind of platoon guy where you were facing lefties a lot and it just became okay, maybe going in for a defensive replacement late in the game. So you go to the Astros and the same kind of thing applies as in San Francisco. But then to start 2023, something happens. José Altuve is playing in the World Baseball Classic and he gets injured, right? Which is going on obviously during spring training. And so the Astros are wait a second, we need a second baseman. And here you are, right?
So it was funny. It was funny how that go. I mean, I remember watching the game. Jose goes down. It was not good. He gets hit in the hand, finger broke. And I remember the next day we had a meeting. And I remember Dana,
Dana Brown, the general manager.
If he watches this, I always remember him this. He comes to the meeting, he says, Jose goes down. I think we're going to look for options outside of their organization, to bring somebody in so he can play second base. Well, I'm sitting down right there watching him. I'm like, okay. And I told Joe Espada this. Joe's the manager now. He was a bench coach at the time. And I told him, you want a freaking second baseman? I'll give you a freaking second baseman.
You said that to him?
Till this day, every time I'll show you that. And I told that to Pena, I'm going to show you I'm a freaking second baseman. And I remember Dusty tells me, come on, boy.
Dusty Baker's the manager at the time.
This is your chance. This is your chance.
I just got chills. because you start off, right? And I remember because I was at the game. So you started the first game of the season, and then they brought in someone else to play the second game.
The second game and the third game.
Yeah.
I go 0 for 4 my opening day. And I remember Tyson, he calls me.
Tyson, tell him who Tyson is.
Tyson.
Shout out to Tyson.
Yeah, another host family. He tells me, Mo, are you okay? I'm like, before spring training, I hate horrible in spring training. It was like not very good. And then he tells me, are you okay? Like, I'm afraid, like, I'm fine. I feel fine. Things are not working out, but I'm fine. Like, I'm not showing what I want, but it's fine. I feel my swing feels fine. First game of the season, 0 for 4. They bring somebody else, play 2 games, he goes 0 for 8. And and Dusty tells me, like, hey, this is your shot. If you hit, you get to play. If you hit, you get to play. And I remember, like, if I hit, I get to play. If I hit, I get to play. Okay. Don't try to do too much. Get a hit. Get a hit. So fourth game against the White Sox, get a base hit against Clevenger. Next day, I'm in the lineup. I'm like, if I get a hit, I get to play. So I ended up going in a 20-game hitting streak.
20-game hitting streak.
Yeah. Thinking I just got to get a hit a game and I get to play the next day.
And what's wild, too, so Jose Altuve is out for, 3 months of the season?
Yeah, almost 3 months. 2.
And so at the time, I can't remember exactly what it was, but you're, hitting in like the high 290s, 300s almost.
Yeah, at some point I was like a 330-something. And then when Jose came back, I was a 303.
I mean, so think about that. Like, that's pretty crazy. It's like to step in there and then do that in that opportunity. And I think for the listeners, that's what every player wants, right? And there's this huge misconception too. Players get to the big leagues. And again, somebody who was a prospect like you were coming up through the minor leagues, getting to play every single day, you performed every time you got an opportunity, but you got to the big leagues and it wasn't just given to you, right? And so what eventually happens for all the players, unless you're like the young prospect who's a first-round pick, who's the superstar, who's going to be given every opportunity early, like Dusty was right. Hey, man, look, you're going to get an opportunity to play in these, little bits and pieces. And if you don't do anything with it at that point, like that was your chance. And I think players oftentimes say, well, wait a second, like, what are you talking about? You only gave me, a month's worth of games. Like, I need a season's worth of games. And that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's all you get. Like, I tell McCormick, Chas, when Chas started, like, it was funny because we have this thing. Me and Caratini have this thing too right now. Like, hey, I hit a day. I hit a day. I hit a day. That's 162 hits.
One hit a day.
One hit a day. One hit a day. Don't do too much. If you get a hit a day the first at bat, why not 2? And then, little by little, try to, small goals will get you the big picture.
Well, and look, I mean, this is a theme that has gone on in your career where it's like you hit a wall, you stand strong, you keep working, you overcome it, right? You hit another wall, you stand strong, you keep working, you overcome it. Like, you've continued to do that every single year.
Like, people don't realize, like, okay, yeah, like, I mean, I got guys like you, I got guys like family, like, reminds you every time, like, hey, come on, like you've been, like we talk about, you've been through this. You like stay strong, because sometimes it's hard. Sometimes people don't realize. Sometimes it's hard, like, stay there. But if you got the right people in your corner.
Do you remember what I told you in spring training? Obviously, like, and I've seen this before with players. It's so easy as a player, right? To go into a season and be like, oh, right? Like the second base job.
Yes.
Altuve goes to left field.
Yes.
And it appears, okay, this is mine. This is my job. And I said something to you. I said, hey, Doobie, have you been given anything in your entire career? Right?
Yeah, never.
Like, so
always you work for stuff.
You've always had to overcome every single year. So here's a situation where it may appear that you're being given something. I don't want you to be given it, because that's the worst thing that could happen for you, is to feel like it's mine now. Because then what's the result, right? It's like,
you're going to relax and you don't perform. And then, when it was, like I said, I mean, and for me to like today, I'm like, I hit a day, gets me a job, give me the chance to play tomorrow. And I think that's what's been working. I mean, I played today 4 at-bats, 3 at-bats. I need to find a way to get a hit.
You need to find a way to like impact the game in some facet every game?
In a way. If I don't get a hit, I got to make every play in the infield or in the outfield, wherever I am. If I get to first base, I got to find a way to score from first to home, second to home, something.
Did you ever have to learn? I think a lot of times guys get to the big leagues, even in the minor leagues, and everybody wants to hit homers. right? Oh, I want to hit homers. I need to hit homers. Did you ever have to get to a place where you said, wait a second, I need to just be the best version of the type of player that I am? Like, did that happen at any point, or did you always have that?
For me, so people, I'm what's called a utility guy.
You clearly don't like the term.
No.
Yeah. Even though you want to Gold Glove as a utility
Yeah.
guy, for everybody who didn't know that.
Cintron actually helped me on this one, actually. He said, when I was the same thing, but I said to myself, okay, I'm going to be this guy. I'm going to be the best one in the league. I'm going to be the best one in the league. So for me, it was always like, okay, I'm going to be this guy. I want people to talk to me as the best utility in the league. Like for me, it was always like, okay, he's gonna play all positions. I'm gonna be the best utility.
No, and last year, literally, you played every position other than pitcher and catcher.
Yeah, and for me, it was always like, okay, I'm gonna be. Well, every time they talk to me about playing a position, no, he plays well there. He's above average there. Like for me, it was always like, okay, I gotta make sure I'm the best.
And that's your game, right?
Yeah, like wherever you put me, like I'm above average everywhere.
Is there like a low moment in your career that had the biggest impact on like who you are today?
The canon moment. That's what,
the what?
The canon moment. It's like when the superhero finds his moment.
Oh, is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's for me. It was always like, I don't know, probably the San Francisco days. Dealing with your boy and everything. So for me, it was always just, just dealing with all that stuff and
dealing with different personalities in the big leagues, whether that's a certain coach, a certain manager, somebody in the front office, training staff. Like you're dealing with so many different personalities. So like that experience for you, I mean, you're learning it as you go on the fly.
Exactly. And for me, it was always like, my wife played a big role in this one too. Just, like he said, hey, you're an employee. Like for me, it was like you got a job to do. Like don't worry about anybody else. Do your job, and you're fine. You'll be fine. Do your job. Do your job. You go into the game. You play once a week. Make sure you play the best game that once a week. You go play 2 games a week. Make sure you play the best game twice a week. So for me, it was always like, hey, I get to play baseball today.
And you've always been very complimentary of Dusty Baker. What was it playing for Dusty that you felt like was so valuable? Like, what did you learn from him?
Dusty, he loves the players. He played the game, obviously. So he was always direct to you. He was always like, you swing a bad pitch. Hey, what the heck are you doing swinging over there? But at the same time, he understood that the game was hard. Like, he understands why I swung that pitch. Like he was always like, he gave me a shot of, just go out there, and everything, which, overlooked kid from Sacramento, like Sacramento and Honduras, he always, gave me a shot of, I believe you have and so he gave me the big shot. All right. And I was able to sustain it.
Yeah. I think a lot of players get to the big leagues and they expect that every manager is going to know that the game is hard. Right. And I think on some level, every manager does internally know that the game is hard, right? The majority of them, not everyone, but the majority of them actually played the game at the big league level. And most of them, the reason they're managing is because they didn't have the greatest career ever. So it's not that managers don't realize that. It's that I think something happens in the game of baseball when you're managing where there's a lot of pressure on them too, right? So you've played for some managers where there has been some pressure on them. They've lost their jobs. Dusty obviously retired. When you think about all the various different personalities of managers, what's without naming names, what is what you believe to be? Because I think you could actually be a manager one day. What's something that you've taken away from these guys and said, if everybody could just realize this would be the most valuable?
The trusting ability in the sense that, obviously, that's what sometimes numbers sometimes don't see how you feel that day.
Right.
Numbers don't see if you woke up, I feel good today. It's numbers don't see too. At the same time, I'm not feeling too great right now. I didn't sleep well.
You're sick or
I'm sick and everything. Numbers don't see that the reason I hit lefties well is because I face a whole group of righties that were nasty and they bring the lefty in. Of course I'm going to hit it right. Numbers don't see that. Sometimes you got to listen to the player. That's what trust I'm talking about. Numbers don't see like I like the ball coming in like this better than, the ball going away. So if they bring a guy like this, but in the history of the game or like, numbers don't favor this because you're right. Though that's the one thing, like, trusting. But at the same time, I understand they have a job to do. Like, but for me, it's like trusting the players,
Yeah.
which is, Dusty and Joe has right now a little bit. So like, it's just, trusting the guy. I'm like, you know what? He's feeling good. I'm going to ride him.
Well, look, Dusty's won a World Series. You've won a World Series. I think that's something that the best managers ultimately learn. It's like you could have success as a manager not trusting. You could have success as a manager by just like following the lead of the front office or the data analysts that are telling you statistics say that this person should be playing. But I think if you actually want to win a World Series and like be this consistent winning manager, I do believe, and here I am saying this as though I've ever managed. I haven't managed. But I know players, and I do know that players ultimately when they experience the trust you're referring to, like they want to kill themselves for the manager. And I know that you feel that way about many managers that you've had, right? So on some level, I do think it's a great lesson just to hear. I was, Zach Scott, the old GM of the Mets. So I just had him on the podcast and I asked him, I said, what's like the thing that you guys are ultimately trying to accomplish? And he's like, we're trying to predict the future. And it's interesting because that's why I think they rely so much on the data is the data's predictive, or at least they want it to be. So it's like, if I follow this thing, it tells me over time, this will result in what I want it to result in. But the human element isn't being measured. So if you're relying on this player to get a hit in this situation, yeah, man, if this guy's doubting himself or he's hurt or he's mentally not there, doesn't matter that like statistically it says he should get a hit. That's maybe not the guy I want to go to in that situation.
Yeah, numbers don't say that. Numbers don't give you that feel of a human element. Like sometimes, like for pictures, like we were talking with Hunter Brown this and like the scouting report says I have to throw slider, but I don't feel in my slider. My slider's not getting grip, so I'll try to find a way. But if you try to keep throwing the slider, you're gonna get shelled. Like like try to like audible a little bit in a sense, like, but that's what I'm saying. Sometimes numbers don't show how tired you are, how if you feel happy that day, if you feel confident, if you grab the bat today, I'm like, you know what, this bat feels good. Like I feel like I can handle this thing. Numbers don't show that. That's why sometimes like, okay, you gotta have the trust element in it.
Doobie, how important was it for you when you got to the big leagues and maybe even now to have teammates that you can like lean on and like ask questions to?
I think you learn more from your teammates than coaches and from your peers more than anything else. Just because, they're in the heat of the moment. I mean, Crawford for me was one of the biggest, help in my career in the clubhouse. Right. Yeah, and everything. I mean,
what was it that he taught you?
Everything. From every time there was a play, a shortstop, and why you did this? Like for me, it was always the why. Like why? Like why you do it? Why you did that? Why you came in with a glove like this? Like why would you throw the second? Like there's videos of me taking around balls with him that I'm purposely watching like what he does. And I ask him after, like, why? Like, why do you do this? So I pretty much just learn, hear everything he has to say. Same thing with hitting. I know I got Posey, Buster. Like, I was sitting on this. Why? Like, why? Because they throw you this and this, and I start thinking like, okay. So now having a base of what to look for, and like, if it does this, I may, hey, why not? So for me, it was always, Craw helped me out so much just by, for me, just asking the why question.
When you watch younger players today, guys that get to the big leagues, what is the separator for you? When you, like, I'm assuming you can see a guy and maybe he's a top prospect and maybe he's physically gifted, but I believe that you have the ability to look at a guy and be like, I don't know if he's going to make it. Like, is there something that jumps out at you as like, the thing that most young players need to understand if they want to make it is that they need to do this?
They need to deal with failure.
How? Understand it's a part of the game?
Understand it's part of the game. Think about it. Now kids go to perfect games. Now kids go to this. They're the man. They're the man every time. First rounder, second rounder. They're always the man. They go to Pro Bowl. Oh, they're the man. We got to treat them right. They go to AA. Oh, the big prospect's coming. They go to AAA. Hey, prospect is about to get called up. They go to the big leagues. It's even. Everybody's the same.
Right.
You're in the biggest for a reason. The best pitching in the world is in the big leagues. So when they go over here, they go 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Then the next day, 0 for 4. Then you get the final base hit, and then the team has to win. You're not in the lineup. Then the next day, you go 0 for 3. Like, it's how you deal with that. Look, you're not that man anymore. You got to earn that thing again.
You got to earn it.
So how you deal with that. For me, it's always how you deal with that, how you deal with it.
And so when you have a young player who, let's just say, is experiencing that and you're watching it happen, because you're a veteran now at some point, right? Like you've been around, you've played for multiple teams, multiple managers, you played with a lot of superstars. What do you tell a guy like that?
I just see it. We had Cam, for example, Cam Smith. I think he's going to be, he deals with failure so well. And I think the reason is because, we're there to help him too. We were just talking about it, I remember yesterday we were on the plane, he's like all looking like all pissy and everything. Like, what's up, Cam? I'm just thinking about these 2 strikeouts. For what? I mean, you're ready to strike out. Like, it's happened. Like, worry about tomorrow. I'm like, okay, you're right. So this is a kid that, I'm not saying don't worry, but at the same time, you got to have a goldfish memory, just.
A goldfish memory. I love that.
Yeah, just forget about it.
Yeah.
Like, it already happened. Forget about it. Okay, what did I do wrong? I could have done this. Okay, I'll try the next game. Right. And I think that's what, that's the big separator of the great guys and the guys that the up and downs and this. And for me, it was the same thing at the beginning. I used to be so worried about, I made an error. Like, oh my goodness, I'm going to get sent down. And now it's like, okay, I get an error and then, so what? It's not the end of the world. Give me another one.
What comes to mind when I hear you say that is, do you have the ability to remove the emotion and look at what's happened already as just information? Like if you're, let's just say you're, not playing today, right? You guys have an off day, but let's assume you guys had a game and you weren't in the lineup today. And, you're watching some other player and you can see when you're not playing, you can see like the emotion involved in, oh, this guy just struck out and he comes back to the dugout and he's pissed. And you can see that guy go out to the field and now you're like, oh, he's carrying it out to the field. And then when he goes up for his second at bat, oh, it's still like affecting him. So for me, it's like, how do you take what's already happened and recognize there is nothing I'm going to be able to do that's going to change that strikeout to a hit or a walk or anything else. So how do I look at that unemotional as information? What did I do in that at bat? Were there pitches I should have swung at? Was it a bad call? It's just information. And if you can stay level-headed with it, you have the ability, I think, at that point to learn from a lot of this failure and be able to kind of move forward.
Yeah. And I'm not saying like you got to be a robot and you're going to be, you strike out and you're going to be, okay, what's happening? No, you're going to be upset. Like, oh, what's like this? I could have done this. The moment I changed from, to being a great player, like good player and everything, like establish myself and everything, was when I was able to separate my defense from my offense, like not caring, like I can think about it and like, okay, it's over. Like I got to focus on the next at bat. He pitched me like this. I'm going to try to do this. Okay, next pitch. So for me, it's always like the bat is over, go to the dugout, be pissed, whatever. And then 3 strikes happen, 3 outs happen, go outside and then move on. Worry about defense when you're a defense and then come back. Okay, so watch the video. Okay, what's happening? And then just go from there.
Do you remember when that changed for you? Because I don't think players are born with that. I think that is like something that you have to learn. And like for me, so I learned that from Ken Ravizza at Sac City. He used to have this like small little toilet and he would say, flush it. So like after a strikeout, you'd walk up to the toilet, you would flush the toilet. And like this, it was this mental release of like, okay, that's in the past. I'm now moving forward. Like, how did you learn?
For me, it was, I like when I was in San Francisco, I used to strike out and come out and be pissed and go and play defense and make an error, thinking about my bat. And then I'm like, okay, I gotta do something because I'm either gonna get sent down or get released. I gotta find a way. I'm like, I strike out, okay, don't now make a great play. If I don't get a hit, you're not getting a hit.
Yeah, the thing that I think about when I think about you as a player is like, you're the most curious player I've ever met. Like you're really fascinated by the game. And that's why I said I think you could be a good manager because you're always watching. You've played all these positions. So like maybe that's why you're so good at all of that. But it's like you are intently curious on how do I how do I continue to just get the most out of my abilities? And there's like always another level that you could get to that maybe you're not at yet.
Like for me, it was always, I'm not blessed with 6'7".
Yeah, you're not 6'7", you're not 250.
I'm not going to miss hit a ball and hit it out. But my dad always says I have a Harvard degree in baseball.
Yeah.
I just think about the game. How can I, different ways to exploit my ability. My glove is one of the blessings that I have, and just find a way to, use my mind and, create something in the baseball field.
I think it goes without being said that, me personally, I've never played the game at the big league level. I've never, managed. And I think it's very easy for people like me and people that aren't players to say, oh, why don't you guys just do this? Right. I mean, even on this podcast, I've said things where it's like, oh yeah, this guy sounds like he's talking like he knows. And like, I almost want to apologize because I think as I think about what you've gone through, as I think about what players like you have gone through, you guys have overcome things that, I mean, like, it's what movies are made of. It's what books are written about, right? Like, you are the antithesis to the traditional baseball player when you envision somebody who's accomplished the things that you have at the big league level. And so that's where I just want to like compliment you, because it's been an honor to be on this journey with you. It's been so much fun to watch. For everybody who's listening to this, who's like, I want to know, man, what is this guy capable of in the future? Like, what is the rest of Mauricio Dubón's story? What do we think? What are the goals, Doobie?
Finish healthy, man. Finish healthy. And I think, at the end of the day, is just be able to finish healthy, try to play as long as I can. Just going out there, and I already won a World Series. I want to win another one. Everything. Just, try to finish where I started. I mean, try to leave a good image for my kid too, coming up in the play the game the right way and everything, just coming in and, things are going to happen. So for me, it's always like, just pave the road for my kids and people who's behind me.
What would you want to tell, like if you were talking to the next Mauricio Dubón, who maybe is in Honduras, maybe he's in Colombia, maybe he's somewhere else, say something in Spanish, like that you would, like, what message do you have for him?
Siga trabajando, sea paciente, que nada va a ser fácil, pero si uno trabaja, uno va a ver mejores resultados, que no se sofoque, que eso es parte del camino, eso es parte del viaje que uno hace, y que siga para adelante y que no vea ni para atrás, porque ni para agarrar envión, como dice la gente. Stay focused, work hard, always look forward. Don't even, take a step back even to get, a little. Like, it's going to be tough, but you always got to look forward. And trust me, you're going to be fine if you put in the work.
Brother, this has been great. Thank you, man.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Finally.
I love you, buddy.